something to really look forward to in 2021, and what a beautiful space created by Barayamal, and congratulations to Dean Foley for initiating that space. And it was brilliant and encouraging to see those people speak so highly of the Accelerator program. And if you're interested, please get in contact with Barayamal to take on the next Accelerator program. Once again, use the Q&A section in the top left if you still are here and you've got some questions for this panel discussion. Please drop them in. We've got a couple here already for the participants. And if you haven't got anything now that you would like to type and want to keep it off air, sure, you can have an opportunity after this. We'll be in a panel discussion for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then you can the official proceedings will be finished, and then it's networking time, and you can hang around in the platform and jump on tables and introduce yourself, keeping in mind that people got things to do. But of course, if you've got some time to stick around, please make some connections as you would. I would like to invite, hopefully our tech man will invite all our guests back on to the main stage, and we'll have a little bit of a Q&A. We've got Elise. Just keep your microphone off for the time being. And just like we do, Ruby's in the house. Jay's in the house. We'll just wait for Tara if she's still around, and also who are we missing? Deb. Deadly. So this is a panel discussion where we'll just ask our presenters, and on behalf of Barayamal, congratulations. That was super impressive pictures. Spoke so incredibly well. Super impressive. Certainly as a radio host, I thought you all.
Sorry, Troy, we've got Sarah still missing. She can't get on.
We are missing one. That's right. I'm not the sixth. Yes, I saw 6 screens. She can't get on just yet. Should we just hang a few seconds here, a few minutes? Happy to wait, or I might just start with some other people, and then Sarah might be able to jump in when she gets an opportunity. Let's start with you, Jay, and you can unmute yourself. There, Jay. We heard a little bit about your business. Maybe introduce yourself and who's your mob, and just a little bit about your background.
Who am I? I'm. This is what my whole pitch was about. Who am I? So it's about that. I'm a man from Mount Isa, the region, born and bred out there. Growing up in a place where high social determinant issues exist, and disparity, and where there's a lot of wealth being created by the natural resources in the mining, and I just saw an imbalance of people who have and people who haven't got those opportunities, and it still exists today. But and I sought out to solve that problem by going to university and getting my qualifications, and then getting my qualifications on country as a Buderi man, and learning about the cultures and other businesses that exist out there on country, and then merging them two together, the culture and the cultural and the social impact needs, which is opportunities to work, opportunities to maintain your health, and opportunities to build a better quality of life. So I brought the culture together with career opportunities, education, and now they're aligned in this particular product that I've got. So is that what it was? That maybe I went overboard with that question.
No, that's fine. What's the story or steps that led to launching your business?
Yeah, having fought really hard for native title as well as for my group, it was a tireless, hard, difficult process when people are removed from country, and then you're expected to, after that process or during that process, you're expected to use your identification to land scholarships or opportunities to enroll in university, go on ab study and identified positions and so on and so forth. But I found that huge inconsistencies with evidence of information. In fact, what was a game changer was when I tried to apply for a housing loan for a home and for my family, and they told me that I couldn't use the certificates I had. I had about 3 different Aboriginality certificates, and they said, "Sorry, they've all expired." So I said, "Holy smokes! You mean I woke up this morning and I wasn't Aboriginal anymore? Damn it! I should have kept an eye on my expiry date." So this is frustrating for all of us, because even companies that now are required to use Aboriginality for procurement, and it's in every state and territory, and there's a precedent already set where $100 million was rorted in Aboriginality identification. In one particular state or territory. I won't name which one, but it is a complex issue that hasn't been dealt with until now, and we're doing it in an end-to-end way so that we can actually create greater inclusion for everybody, not just Indigenous people, but non-Indigenous, and so we're all a part of the same team, basically, when we're working.
That's beautiful, Joe. Yeah. I might jump over to you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
No worries. We might bounce back to you very shortly. And just to the listeners or the people that are here, if you do want to take things further and discuss more opportunities with any of the presenters, there will be a networking time, but also take, head to their socials or any kind of way. They've got a pretty strong social presence. So if you can't fit in your questions now, please use the time after this panel discussion to catch up with them. Tara, I want to flick over to you. I wanted to talk about how you've dealt with criticism or discouragement in your time as an Indigenous entrepreneur already. You said 2 years. Have you faced any criticism? And if so, how did you handle it? And you have to just unmute yourself.
Never been asked that question. Criticisms, not so much, more just what you asked for as any Aboriginal person that wants to, honour culture and protocols in the country that they're on. We're always open to suggestions. Something that's always interesting when you're in the creative arts and you utilise our Aboriginal traditional culture, the little that we know. What's really unique about what we do is our own elders who support us never got taught our dances. So something that's big, like from a cultural perspective, is having their support in understanding that we contemporize a lot of our traditional work. So it's not criticism, but it's more like there's this big awareness, on your shoulders all the time that that you're honouring stories and country and culture. We have a huge responsibility to do that. So, I'm really cautious of that. But as an entrepreneur, I was really encouraged to, I think when you sort of earned your stripes in whatever your expertise is and worked hard as a teacher and in community and as a professional dancer and, dance movement therapy trained and all that sort of stuff, when your purpose and your intentions are good, I just think, everything else sort of don't listen to. And I know whose opinions I should honour, and that's our people first. So,
what's been the biggest highlight so far of your short but busy business career?
With Wala, probably the opportunity to tour the start of last year, dancing with the Marindas, doing workshops in community, and that got cut with Arnie Rona, but hopefully we get out there soon. But you know what, just some of the just being able to workshop with our young mob, like the Aboriginal co-ops, the most simplest of opportunities. I love seeing kids moving. I'm loving being in the all ability space, and hats off to your work and your vision, Elise. Yeah, seeing people connect to movement and be able to express their ways. Like for me, I've always hated talking, so I always danced or did song or whatever. So to inspire that in other people for healing, I love.
I think you do both pretty well, Tara, talking and dancing. So
Thanks.
I think you sell yourself short. Let's flick over to Elise. Great little segue there. And I've got a question from someone that's tuned in. They're interested to know if you have approached NDIS to be a registered provider. And if you have, what kind of response did you receive?
So we've been servicing, I've been servicing people on the NDIS for about 3.5 years. I'm not a service provider because I'm not as big as where we service Melbourne, so eastern, northern, western suburbs. And probably when I can service the whole state, then I'll register as a service provider. Basically wanting to get, we've been running for 3 to 5 years, and before the 3 years it was mostly privately funded. But what I'm enjoying that I can get through being NDIS is a lot of the people that we work with. When I say isolated, they're in child protection or they're housebound. And the great thing and the thing that's needed is kids, especially like they're getting passed around from person to person, from house to house if they're lucky. It's also apartment to apartment. And being the mentor who's independent from DHS, we're independent, we can stay with that young person throughout their journey and even when they're an adult. So we have some people who are now like 27, and sometimes they tap in, then they tap out, and always there backing them in the great occasions, and then when they need more support, more so. So we're not, to clarify, we're not a service, we're not a registered NDIS provider. There are certain things around NDIS that aren't the most ethical, like the individual assessments and everything. So we're independent, but we have managed to tap into DHS funding, to NDIS funding, to make sure that you don't need to be privately to financially support yourself. You can still access our service.
Brilliant. And a comment also, great work, everyone. For anyone seeking investment, this is a message from Tim Lovett. So if any of you want to get in touch with investment, which sounds like most of you in that space, he's keen to hear your stories around what that's been like and how investors are responding. So keep an eye out for Tim Lovett if you guys, any of the presenters are hanging around and socialising after this panel discussion. Or Tim, if you can get in contact with them and with your email. One more for you, Elise. This is, they'd like to know which cities and regions you offer this service in, or if you have plans to expand one day.
I started I lived in Melton, and I started servicing well into eastern suburbs for the first 3 years, and that was purely because western suburbs don't have many support for disability, for minorities really. So I went to where I could get the most support as a young person with a social enterprise, and that was the eastern suburbs. And that was a bit of a trek. Like I was traveling 4 hours a day and sometimes only servicing one client. But you got to start somewhere. And now eastern suburbs, northern suburbs, and western suburbs, and a lot of effort going into pumping services into the west. My biggest struggle has been, and learning through the Barayamal, like my biggest struggle has been the limit is my time, and the limit is then my time I can give to people who I employ. So I'm really working on, which is why I'm trying to source funding. I'm really trying to work on nutting down the policies and procedures and nutting down on what exactly is our approach, and trying to do that through video and examples as opposed to written things. Because what we do is very different to a counsellor who can't share, or a youth worker who can't share their lived experience. And trying to get active support, the backlog that I have gotten away with not having, getting that done so that I can employ and train people and then service more people.
Brilliant, Elise. And if anyone wants to take up further conversation with Elise or any of the presenters, please stick around just straight after these panel discussions, which we've got about 10, 15 more minutes, and then you can catch up with them. Thanks so much, Elise. We're going to head over to Deb. And just before we do, Sarah, unfortunately, isn't available in the platform. So if you did want to catch up with Sarah, please get in contact with her business, or even contact Dean at Barayamal to get in contact. He'll be able to link you up. And that was for currency, print, and corporate communications. Hey, Deb, a question coming through from one of the people that have been observing and listening today. Interested in hearing a bit more about the space you're trying to create near Geelong. Is it an event space or accommodation and care? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, it'll be at the house accommodation. So they come over and heal with that. So I want to tell you a brief story about that. I found the lounge room a couple of years ago on the internet, and about a year later, I was just in the shop at the supermarket. My trolley was at the newspapers and was like, what the, it's like the universe telling me you need to sit down, relax, have a cup of tea, So I didn't, thank God. So the next day I went through the paper and I thought, this is why I don't buy the paper, because, it's full of, depressive stuff. So I flicked straight to the real estate and got it. And there was my house. There was that lounge room, and I found it. So, yeah. So have I gone there yet? So going back a couple of years, my cousin messaged me and goes, what's the address? Just out of the blue, what's the address? I knew exactly what she meant. Gave her the address, she goes, yeah, just delivered wood there. It's like, oh my God, like, who are they? What are they? She goes, I just delivered wood. And I go, right, okay, when the time's right, it'll be there. So yes, so it is a place for where they come and heal. Because yes, we've got places that, you can go for a session, an hour or whatever. That doesn't heal. So yes.
Wow. And sorry, Sarah just jumped in there, and you can contact Sarah at currencycommunications.com. She just apologised. Her computer won't let her in. Need to speak to who was tech in here, Jay? Let's head over. Sorry, Deb, I've got one more question actually before we let you go. How can the wider business and startup world do better at supporting Indigenous entrepreneurship?
Okay. I feel what we're doing, like making us known and be and awareness out there to, and particularly for my business is to go back with our culture. Do you know what I mean? Like go back to the way we were doing things, healing and stuff like that. So bringing more of that in and more of awareness, I think will help everyone. So.
Beautiful, Deb. I'm going to head over to Ruby, and if anyone wants to talk further with Deb, stick around. You're going to have an opportunity straight after this panel discussion. Ruby, I think that's the last of our presenters that we're going to have a little panel discussion with. I've got a weird question. We're all in the tech, getting towards the tech space. It's a bit of a funny one. What was your first computer or first mobile phone?
First mobile phone, I remember we had a family mobile phone. I don't know how many people started with that, but one for the family, and it was a Siemens phone. They don't make phones anymore, but and the painful text messages of click this 4 times to get this letter, and better keep it to delete some characters so I can keep it as one text message instead of two.
The youth of today don't understand how we used to be able to get to the letter D without looking at the phone. You could text completely looking up with each button having 4 options. Like, they don't get it.
They'll never know the struggles.
It's talking about struggles. What are the biggest challenges associated with? Oh no, sorry. I'm not going to ask the same question to someone else. Here we go. What has been some of the biggest lessons you've learned as an Indigenous entrepreneur so far?
I think the biggest thing that struck me when I started my business was just how other people represent themselves and maybe misrepresent themselves. So anyone can make a website now that looks like you have 50 people working for you and that you've been doing this for a long time. And people tend to, embellish what it is that they do. And so, you look on their website and it'll say things that they've done, like that's something that they've done hundreds of. And then when you actually know the business owner and the company and you go, they've done one of those projects, they've only ever told me about one thing, and and it was small and it was this and that. And so part of one of my jobs is to review grant proposals for Australian aid money being used in Papua New Guinea. And so that's something I'm always looking for is, I've got your proposal, but also I'm going to check out your company and I'm going to look at your Facebook page. I'm going to look at your website and I'm going to try and figure out if you seem like the kind of company that is actually capable of delivering this. Because in this space, especially when we're talking about grant money and funding, a lot of companies seem to try and misrepresent themselves and their motives and their capabilities. And I think that was the biggest thing that struck me coming into this world, and me feeling like a bit of a fraud and, being a new guy. Well, a lot of people are new guys. And I think the most important thing is just don't pretend that you're not. Just don't try and fake your capabilities. That's all.
Yeah. Brilliant encouragement, which is really hard to do because you just so badly want to be further than what you are. And if that whole fake it till you make it doesn't always present well if you're faking it for a long time. How do you think the wider business and startup world could do better at supporting Indigenous entrepreneurship, and especially some of the presenters here?
Just come to things like this. There's plenty of Indigenous trade shows now. We're really lucky to be supported by Supply Nation and Kinaway in Victoria and places like that. So just take an interest, I suppose, be curious and check if there are some Indigenous suppliers out there that you could direct your business to. Like Sarah was saying, we're just a small slice of the pie. We only need a small slice of the work to keep us going. So just be curious about it, take an interest and see if there's a way that you can be involved with us. And if you like the way that we do business, we're certainly not looking for charity. We think that we have great products and great services and can help you out. So just check and see if that's the case.
Super impressed. I'm absolutely privileged and honoured to be an MC today. I love this space, and hearing all your stories has been incredibly inspiring. Truly has. Learning a lot about different spaces that we hold. If anyone wants to talk to these people anymore, shortly in a few minutes, if they've still got time to hang around, please use the Remo platform to jump on tables and have a chat with these people. Hopefully you've got a few more minutes up your sleeves, everyone, to let yourself be approached or mingle or connect with other ones, but feel free to leave if you have to. I want to say a big thank you to Jay Davis from Hold Access, Elise Muller from Active Support, Tara Brown from Whaler Connections, Deb Miller from Arnie Eyes Wellbeing Centre, Ruby Hurd from Alinga Energy Consulting, and Sarah Stewart from Currency Print and Corporate Communications. You may all leave the table. I feel like I'm telling kids you can go now play with your Ataris. Thank you. Hang around and we'll wrap up the proceedings here. Jay, it's a pleasure. Deb, we'll speak to you soon. That is how you do Barayamal Demo Day on a platform that we've all never heard of, virtually. somewhere. There's always something new to do. Incredible day, incredible showing too. We had up to 55 people there tuning into those pictures. I'm sure a lot of people are being absolutely activated in where to divert their attention. We talk about pivoting a lot. Incredible stories, great presentations, great pictures. It's not easy. It's not easy to pitch. You all spoke incredibly well from my view, and it's been an absolute pleasure to host this. Please go check out Barayamal and all they do. Big shout out to Dean Foley, who is is the founder of Barayamal, and go check out the services they do. If you want to catch up with anyone that you've talked with today, or any of the presentations, stick around. There's networking time. I'll give myself a little plug. I got a business. No, I got a radio show at 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. On weekdays. If you want to tune in, it's soulful music, mindful discussion, and healthy news. Super healthy, positive content that it's not too like Wiggles or anything, but it is PG rated. So you can listen to it with your kids in the morning. Go to my website, reallygoodраdio.com.au, or go to the social medias. But you need to stream the morning show. It's free, and it's visual as well. We've got a camera live in the studio, and I use video format. It's really cool. Anyway, it doesn't cost any money. I don't want any investment. I just want your ears in the morning, and hopefully if you're getting sick of the crap out there, you might enjoy the show. But anyway, thanks very much. Thanks, everyone. Thanks very much, everyone, for sticking around. It's been an absolute hoot. Supercharged, and have a brilliant day. Over to you. Network, stick around. This has been Barayamal Demo Day.